Hi folks, and this is the second in this series of videos. I'm not doing a series, right? It's a second type of demonstration of a synth being used to basically create an entire tune. The reason why I'm doing this video, there's lots of demonstrations on YouTube, on the Arp Odyssey, it's the other video I have like this, and the Behringer DeepMind. And they're generally just somebody playing the sounds, and you're not really hearing anything else in context. And you know, as I've mentioned it many times before, I like to hear things in context. You know, when I watch a YouTube video and I hear something, it's not just synths, it's anything, a drum machine, an effects box, anything. It's great that I can hear things, you know, somebody playing around with a filter. It's all very nice, right? But I'm often thinking, yeah, but what does this sound like in the context of a tune? And when like somebody's playing bass sounds or what have you of a new synth, I'm always itching to hear it with drums or some kind of backing, you know? And I'm probably going a bit over the top, but I thought it would be interesting to see if the Arp Odyssey and this Behringer, I have other synths I could do this as well with, but I'll see how it goes, because they kind of, well, going by the Arp Odyssey, it took a bit of time. It took the best part of an entire day. I want to check out what these synths sound like being used for multiple instrument parts. And I think that's a really great test of a synth. And basically what we're looking for here is, does the sound collapse, you know? Now, I have had synths in the past where, you know, I can use one sound from it and then maybe a second one, but anything more than that, it starts going a bit pear-shaped, right? So this is the purpose. Now, I'm pretty certain, based on how I was doing the Arp Odyssey one, the Arp is actually pretty good. You can kind of get it to do a lot of stuff. It's a very versatile synth. Can be used in pretty much any genre. Now, I don't know about the DeepMind. When I use the DeepMind, I use it now and then. Where I have had difficulty using it is when I'm bringing it into a production that's just about finished, and then I'm like going through lots of sounds and tweaking and all sorts of stuff, right? And then it just seems to take a bit of time to get something to fit. And I often have to kind of use a lot of processing. And it's not a reflection of the sound, but annoyingly, just about every preset in here, and there's a lot of presets, there's eight banks, I think, and well, A to H, 128 or 250. I think it's 128 per bank. But anyway, it's a lot. I would have been happy with just 2 banks. And one thing I would recommend, even though I'm going to preach what I don't actually practice, I would recommend, if you don't own one and you do end up buying one of these, I think they're pretty cheap now. In the UK they're like 550 quid. Pretty damn good for a 12-note polyphonic analog synth with built-in effects. If you do end up buying one, I thoroughly recommend, I keep meaning to do this myself, because going through the built-in presets can be a bit of a hassle. It's a bit infuriating actually, because the volumes of the different, you know, the level of each preset, some are really loud and some are really quiet, and I'm always kind of faffing around with the volume on the DAW, you know, and sometimes I even have to use a plugin with a sound that's just so low in volume, and that's even with the VCA right up. That you know, I have to put in some kind of volume plugin to boost the volume to hear it in the mix, right? But that's not a reflection of the sound. But I think maybe it would have been great if they did something about the output stage, because it does seem to be a bit low. But I think what they've done, I'm probably wildly inaccurate here, but I think what they've done is set it up in a way that when you're using the effects, right? And it's got quite a lot of effects you can choose from, as you can see from there. And obviously some of these effects, like particularly the distortion, there's a compressor in here, this Fairchild compressor, can obviously radically increase the volume, and I think they've allowed for that. But anyway, it's still a bit of an issue flicking through sounds, and I know that all synths do this, but this Behringer DeepMind seems to be a bit heavy on that, you know, the differences in volume. Another slightly annoying thing about every preset, I don't think I've come across one that doesn't do it, every sound auto pans. That's quite annoying on a bass sound, so every time you're checking out sounds you might have to do a bit of volume faffing around, and then you have to hit the edit button, the VCA button, and bring this pan spread. You can't see it here. By the way, I tried to put the camera on there, it was a waste of time. Every sound has got this auto panning going on, and that's a little bit annoying, so hence why I would thoroughly recommend that you program up about 64 sounds, just sort of bread and butter stuff that is a good starting point anyway. Some pads, bass sounds, synthy lead type things, you know, a few chord things. And by the way, the chord feature where you can memorize chords, which I've got going on here, is fantastic. I really like that. I'm just playing one note, but it's chords that I've programmed in. Anyway, so basically this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to record, I don't know, hopefully about 10 sounds from this, build up a little tune. Everything will be DeepMind 12, but obviously the drums are not going to be DeepMind 12, they'll come from somewhere else. And I may start with this sound, I don't know yet. Once I've done all that, I'll come back, give a bit of an analysis, maybe a little bit of a comparison with the Arp Odyssey, and then after that there'll be a 2-minute arrangement. I'll put all the sounds into like a mini arrangement, and that way it should give you a good idea about how this thing sounds. So I'll be back soon, and for this one let's have a look through the square window again. I was beginning to hit a brick wall. I could have layered sounds and, you know, ended up with 20 different sounds coming from the DeepMind, but that's not what I wanted to do. How do I feel about this compared to the Arp Odyssey? Well, I think they're very different. But I'll say this straight off the bat. I think that Arp Odyssey just kind of sounds a bit more expensive or something, and it's more versatile. I would be able to use the Arp Odyssey to do an entire track, whether it's techno, house, deep house, some kind of experimental breakbeat type thing, whatever. What I find I do like about this, which I'm not sure other people do, but I actually like the bass sounds that come out from it. They're not big, fat Moog style. I think maybe you're getting an idea that I'm not a big fan of Moog. And I'm not. Maybe it was the Voyager that put me off. I was never able to use the Moog Voyager synth in a single track. And that wasn't for lack of trying. I just don't think I gel with the Moog sound at all. And even the newer ones, I don't seem to gel with them. But maybe I've been tarnished by my experience with the Moog Voyager. But anyway, I like that this doesn't do big, heavy duty bass. It's kind of more like New Order, Depeche Mode, kind of the 80s kind of vibe. Giorgio Moroder, you know the song, Ooh, I Feel Love, I Feel Love. I'm better not singing. But, you know, it's kind of very good for that syncopated, fast type bass lines, which is not what I've done here, but it's also worked quite well with this. Pads, they're okay, but that Juno 106 DNA comes through. There's this glassy shininess about that I never liked about the Juno 106. I'm not a fan of the Juno 106. That's the Roland Juno 106. Not a fan of that either. And I used to own one, and I've tried to use it over the years, now and then again. I don't own it, but when I've came across one, I'm just like, no. Even when I was like in my early 20s, I never liked it, you know. It didn't fit. The bands that I was playing in, and these were electronic music bands, we could never get that damn thing to fit. And I still feel the same about it. And this is what happens when I flick through sounds. I keep, come across various sounds. I'm flicking, and I go, oh, Juno. And anything that sounds like Juno, I just go past it very quickly. But it's way better than a Juno 106 in my opinion. If it wasn't, I wouldn't still have it, right? So I've had it for probably about 2 years now. I'm able to always get something out of it. Used it for bass sounds and the odd little noise here and there, but never pads. I don't get good pads out of it. I'm not expecting it to do everything, but I was a tad disappointed with that. I was really hoping its pads would be more like the Juno 60. I think it's a great synth, and whether you should rush out if you don't own one, whether you should rush out and buy one, well, this is hopefully what this video would help your decision there. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to let you hear the parts that were recorded without any effects. So I've bypassed all the effects here. The drums were not from the Behringer, obviously. They're from a Mootant pack, actually. What a surprise. But these are drums I created, and this is from one of those packs. So, but that's nothing to do with the DeepMind. So I'm just going to go through the sounds, and this is what was recorded. And then after this, directly after this, there will be about a 2-minute arrangement, just like what I did with the Arp Odyssey. Any effects that you hear are they come from the DeepMind. Yeah, really pushing the barriers of musical ability there, huh? Another Arp. Doesn't really fit that one though, but I'll crowbar it in somehow. The original bass, which I'm not going to use. I recorded that one first. And then immediately did this one, which I think is better. It's a better sound. So that's it. I mean, fairly basic stuff, and together, not mixed or anything, just you're just hearing it raw. Well, kind of raw, yeah. Oh, we don't want keyboard synth 2 at that point. So that's all the parts. Now I'm going to do like a 2-minute arrangement and put the effects back on and stuff, and thanks for watching.